Hey guys, we're here. Yay, it worked.
Yay!
I was
It's
a little
a
nervous
miracle.
there for a minute.
It's a Christmas miracle.
It's a Christmas miracle. It's a Christmas miracle to see you. I guess it's been like 2 years since we've done this.
Yeah, we have probably. God, has it been that long? It probably has been that long.
I think so, because it's been about a year and a half since I've even done this.
Oh my God. It doesn't even feel like it.
It feels like it now that I'm doing it every other day again. I remember why I stopped doing this.
Yeah, it kind of is the technology part of it is a pain in the ass. Getting to chat with people is fun.
It is. I hope that because we had to stop and redo a link, so I hope everybody's still finding this okay. But
yeah.
Oh yeah, 9 viewers. Okay, awesome.
Awesome, cool.
So what's new in the last 2 years since we last spoke?
Oh, gee, let's see. I'm trying to think when we did it the last time, if I had been doing keto yet. I started keto in August of 2016. So it might have been right around that time.
It might have been. I think it was we co-interviewed Nikki Gets Fit.
Oh.
So it was a long time ago.
That's a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. So I'm not sure. Oh, let's just recognize who's here. Grace gets gastric here. Okay, Liz.
Cool.
Liz, I know I can't say your name, but she lives in Australia, right? She wants to know when you're going to go to Bendigo. Is that it? Bendigo?
Bendigo.
Bendigo.
Actually, John's aunt lives in Bendigo. So we're hoping to go to Australia in like our summer of 2020. So if we go, we will definitely hook up. Definitely. We'll probably have some kind of Aussie meet and greet when we go. So, because I mean, we have a lot of friends there, and then also there are people, there's like one of John's really good friends who actually had weight loss surgery. And then he has a YouTube channel. He started making videos because he watched my videos. And then he got to be friends with like Phil and, you know, how the guys kind of connect.
They came to Portland, right? I've heard about them from other people. Did they come to the Portland?
No.
Oh, that was somebody else who was your friend.
That must be something else. Yeah, it must be somebody else. Yeah. So and then his wife also had surgery after he did. So, yeah. It
was funny. Liz was Instagram messaging me beforehand, and she's like, well, when is it? I said it's at, I didn't remember that she was in Australia. I'm like,
yeah.
And she goes, yeah, well, it's Monday at 11 o'clock here.
Right. Yeah, I have to have my world clock on my phone to try and figure it out.
So we also have Scotty's here.
Hey.
Jody Olds is here.
Jody. I haven't seen Jody in so long.
Yeah, I know. Doris VSG Journey is here. Clifton's here. Cartwell VSG.
Yay.
Hey, all the people.
I'm about to say all my people.
I know. That's what's so fun about doing this again.
Yes.
Sort of reconnecting with everybody. So for those, sorry, I'm playing around with mouse. For those who don't know, I had a couple questions. We had an issue on Friday with Watch Kitty Shrink. We couldn't get YouTube Live to work, so we did it as an Insta Live, which screwed me all up. I'm not used to that. But I will try to, I saved the video and I think I can upload it here. So I will try to upload it for you guys who missed it. That was really fun for me because most of the people I'm talking to are people I know, you know, relatively well, whose journey followed. And so I didn't even know she'd been in People magazine. So I was totally out of the loop.
Really? I didn't know. Well, you know what? That makes sense because I really love her. She's such a sweetheart, but she has like, I don't know, 14 or 15,000 followers on Instagram. And I'm like, wow, how did you get that? But that must be part of, okay. So that makes it, yeah. But I know she does like lots of giveaways and keto stuff and low carb and all kind of things to support WLS. So I thought, well, maybe she just got somebody with the giveaways and stuff. I'm like, that's amazing. But that makes a lot more sense now. I didn't realize that either. But I'm glad you're going to reshare it because I don't know, I was probably doing cup stuff, so I totally missed it. But I was planning on rewatching during the week. You know, I like to listen at work and stuff. So
I have to say, I was really off my game. It was really hard for me to pay attention, and I was doing it even though I have a personal channel that's private and a weight loss Instagram channel. Yeah, the weight loss one is actually the one where I started. So all these people from my real life started joining Instagram, and it was really messing with me. So I wasn't totally on my game, but she had a lot of really great stuff to say. Yeah. So Lisa Linder's here, Tracy Wilrun's here, Karen is here, Monica Sleeved After 60 is here. All the people are out to hear you. So just in case, I can't imagine that there's anybody who doesn't know who you are, but just in case, why don't you give us the general WL spiel?
Okay, so just the very basics. I just had my 7-year surgery. I had VSG in November of 2011. I had a tummy tuck with the vertical incision in November of 2013. Then I had to have a revision to that in, I think it was December of 2014, so a year later. And then last year in November of 2017, I had my arms done. So I've kind of done all of the WLS things that you can do. I've had regained and I've taken it off. I've changed diets. I've done it all. So
and you've stayed so consistent. And the thing that just kills me, and I think is so amazing about you, is that no matter where I go, and I'm talking to people who who are years, because I'm coming up on my 5-year, who, have had surgery a year, and they all think you're their best friend.
Oh,
so I'm like,
I might be. I'm just saying I might be.
Wait, what do you mean? She answers all of your crazy texts too? What? So how do you do that? And
that's what kind of drives John crazy. He's like, you just have so many connections with so many people. And like, he's a very shy and quiet kind of person. And I'm like this connection. I like being connected to everybody. So he's kind of like, I don't understand how you do this or why you do this. I'm like, but I like connecting with people. Like, that's kind of, I don't know, that's me. And so, and I feel like it helps keep me focused too. If I feel like I'm helping people, that is more than anything else. And so I just like people. Well, let me say, I like most people. There's some people who I don't like.
You can't like everyone.
I don't like the general public when I'm out shopping. I don't like that.
I totally 100% understand. But it's just so funny because your style with people is so great. And I'll speak about my experience specifically is, I've played around with keto for a couple years now. And there were times when I would text you my food and you would give me encouragement and advice and everything. And then I find out you're doing that to like 500 people. It's like, how do you have time to do that?
Well, but people kind of come and go too. It's not like it's all at one time. So, and people ask my advice for keto and like food things and all, but it's not, but then you know how it is. Like sometimes you're hyper focused and sometimes you're not. And so I don't hear from everybody every day. And when I do, it's a little bit overwhelming. Yeah, I do actually have a job and a family, but when I do hear from people, I feel like it's important to respond back. And if I have something that happens and I don't respond back right away, I feel guilty and I feel bad. So I don't know. But it's like I said, it's not like it's constant, like every day, the same people, like, no. And if I don't hear from somebody for a while, I'll kind of reach back out and say, hey, how are you doing? So I don't know.
And you're so, you never make people feel bad. You're very consistent. And I think there's a real difference between beating up on yourself and not being in denial. And I think you're a perfect example of that. So it's like, you can't beat up on yourself. You can't beat up on other people. You make mistakes, but also you can't be in denial about what's real. And you're always there for people, or I'll speak for me, always, all the different times. And then finally it clicked. It just finally clicked with me.
Right.
And then once it clicks, it's like, oh, I don't need to text Tanya my food because I know.
I get it. Yeah.
I get it now. And I got it before. It was more like, I'm going to be accountable because I'm going to be texting Tanya later.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like with WLS and like following WLS rules and with keto and any of the things, it can get to be kind of like a religion. And I never want to feel like I'm a pusher. Like, you've got to do it my way. You have to. But if somebody asks a question, I'm always going to say what I think and give my best advice. But just like anything else, like with surgery, like you have to make your decision for yourself. So I feel like all I can do is give knowledge. And like we always, like even before I had surgery, I knew like the things that I needed to do. Nothing had clicked yet to make me want to do it on a consistent basis. And then with surgery, it just was like, I think for me, I was like, if I'm taking this drastic of a step, I am doing it. Like, I'm going to cut the BS and I'm going to actually do it this time. So, but yeah, I try and be the kind of person that just throws the knowledge out there and you take it and run with it and take it or leave it. Right. It is what it is. And then, like you say, eventually people will like just click and say, I don't know why I didn't start this earlier. I'm like,
or they'll say, yeah, of course, Tanya was always right.
Right. Yeah, I've had a few people, a number of people say that, but then I also have people say it's really not for me. Like, especially with keto, like I really cannot do this. And I'm like, cool. I mean, and like John's one of them. He's like, I can't do this hardcore like you do it. And he doesn't really need to. And I don't think everybody does need to. I do think that those of us who have weight loss surgery probably need to, because we all have damaged metabolisms. And I think we're all pretty much insulin resistant. And if we got to a point where we needed to have weight loss surgery, we probably need to be extremely low carb.
That's my opinion as well. So talk a little bit about your, well, also you live in New Orleans. I mean, tell a little bit about your personal life.
Yeah. So I'm born and raised in New Orleans. That's kind of, I got the name, the Voodoo Queen nickname, actually from Phil, because we got to be friends, and he would say, he would joke about, I'm the Voodoo Queen, and I bet people better be nice to me, or I'm going to, you know, bury him in the swamp or something. And so, and it just kind of stuck as like a nickname. And so probably in the last 2 years since we talked is when I changed my YouTube channel name. And because when I set my Instagram with Voodoo Queen, and I found I'm just a lot more active on there, and I don't do just WLS stuff anymore. So I kind of let go of, I used to be VSG Tanya 2011. And I'm like, well, I'm not just VSG. That's really not my channel. Now I do, you know, weight loss surgery stuff. I do keto stuff. I do cooking, and then kind of family stuff. And I just wanted to make it more general. And so Voodoo Queen is what people call me. So yeah, I'm from New Orleans, married. John and I had our 17th wedding anniversary. Is that right? Yeah, 17th. In September. We have 2 kids. I have a son that's 13 and a daughter that's 11. It's funny, I met a WLSer a few weeks ago, and William was there, and I introduced, and she's like, I didn't even know you had a son. And I'm like, that's because he never wants to be in pictures or anything. But like, if you go back to my old videos, I had some like WLS type product foods, you know, like protein pancakes and stuff that we tasted. We did like taste tests with that were kind of funny when he was little. So he did his little, you know, recommendation on if he liked it and stuff. So,
well, yeah, I have to say, Tanya's kids are adorable and so lovely. And I had a little Will surprise on Thanksgiving.
Did you?
You're like, what? So I was at Gracie's house, and Angelina was over on her phone. Because, I'm, you know, da 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 da, and I didn't even make the connection that it was Will. And then it came up that it was Will, and I'm like, well, number one, he has game, man. He's texting Angelina. He has game,
right? It's so. I think it's so cute. My kids have definitely connected with other people's and the community's kids, and they have their own friendships and relationship things going on. And he'll show me, oh, like today, he's like, oh, look, here's Angelina's cat, and I'm like, oh, okay. So they've gotten to be good friends with Emily, Phil's daughter, and then Gracie's daughter. And yeah, so I love that too, because now I feel like John's big thing was like when we travel, it's normally just adult things, which is good. Like we need adult trips too. But he's like, I wish we had more family type things. And now that our kids are friends with other people, with WLS people's kids, that we feel a little bit more comfortable bringing them to things, and they'll have people to talk to and socialize with. So it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, it totally cracked me up, because I'm like, okay, well, if I were a 13-year-old boy, I would be terrified of Angelina.
Right? No, William, he's kind of a ding dong. Like he's like extremely smart. He's very, very smart, but he's also very dingy and like no like general common sense. So I don't think he has enough common sense to realize like how freaking amazing she is, and like how unbelievably gorgeous. She's the sweetest girl you ever want to meet. Like she's the whole package. So
just like her mom.
Just like her mom.
Let me recognize who's here. We had some more people join. Lisa Lindner, Tracy Wilrun, Schwig is here. Christine, Teeny Tiny Tummy. I just saw her in Chicago a couple weeks ago.
Oh, cool.
Fit Fat Brit Bat's here. Sarah's here. Yay. Sarah never watches anything live. She's not even watching my Marco Polos lately.
She's got tons of, she's with those kids. It takes, that's so time sucking. Yeah.
Very busy. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about your regain period and kind of what got you to keto.
Okay. So I'd say after I had my tummy tuck, so that was about 2 years out. And that year after is kind of when I had my crazy phase where I just kind of like went off the rails. Mentally, and I kind of call it like my teenage phase where I wanted to like test the waters with everything in life. And so during that time, of course, I drank a lot more. I was just, I never really went off of like paying attention to what I was eating, but I probably didn't pay attention to the amount of times in a day I was eating, like doing a lot of snacking and grazing and that kind of thing. And I think we kind of lose the malabsorption that we have in the beginning, and all that was kind of like a deadly combination. And I wound up going from about 165 to up to like 190, I think was like the highest I saw. And I was like, put the brakes on. I can't keep doing this. So I started trying to get back on track at probably about 3 years out. And I had accountability partners, and I was tracking my food in my fitness pal. And I always worked out through all of this. Exercise has always been a thing that's consistent for me. But I was trying my hardest, and I was trying to do like everything we did right after surgery, and it just was not working. Like I lose 5 pounds, I gained 3 pounds. And it was like, and I felt like I was just exhausted. And I think I actually was watching, I don't know if you remember, oh God, is her name Lindsay Broussard?
Oh yeah, Broussard. Yeah.
Is it Lindsay or is it something like
that's her? But I don't know if that's her YouTube name. But I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
But she said something about doing keto on there, and then the other person who I used to watch, she used to make videos all the time, was Drea. Remember Drea? I don't remember her YouTube channel name either. But at the same time, she said something about doing keto. So I'm like, okay, let me go look into what this is about. Started doing research, and I'm the kind of person that once I get fixated on something, I will watch it for hours and hours and hours. And I started watching all these lectures. I wanted to hear what people, like real people like us, had to say about it, but I really wanted to hear the science about it. So I watched all these scientific lectures from all of these top researchers who were like on the cutting edge of it. And I'm like, this makes total sense. And it's been around forever. It's not new. It's not a fad. It's a real scientific thing. And I'm like, okay, I'm in. I'm going to try it. And I'm like, if it doesn't work, it's really not that far off from what I'm doing already. So the main thing was like cutting out crackers. That was a big thing I cut out. I had to cut out all fruit. I already didn't eat bread and rice and pasta and all that stuff. So it was really just refining what I was already doing. And I just went for it. And then next thing you know, like the weight started falling off and my hunger went away. And it just was a natural progression from there to like, not eat so many meals throughout the day and that kind of thing. So
okay, let me back up for just a second because I just heard you. So I always thought you didn't have hunger and you sort of just ate regularly. And then recently on something I heard you say that you felt this empty feeling. I'm like, well, that's what hunger is. And do you think it's because you were just eating at regular times that you never felt hunger?
That's a good question. I think in the beginning, I truly never felt hunger because I can remember after surgery, like telling my mom, like, this is bizarre because I always felt hungry before surgery. Like even I could eat and like an hour or two later, I feel hungry again. And maybe I had trained my body to eat like every 2 or 3 hours. But even like with the empty feeling, I don't even know if I still associate that with hunger. Cause now when I get actual hunger, I'll actually get like the stomach growling, empty feeling. I honestly think that 90% of the time when I think I'm hungry, it's head hunger. Like,
see, I just think, and this is so, I think everybody has a different sense of hunger.
Yeah.
Because I felt hunger after like about 8 weeks, and I'm glad I feel hunger because then I can, I mean, when I need to eat, it's a good thing.
Right.
I wonder if so many of us just ate all the time. Right. That didn't really, I mean, to me, head hunger is when I want to eat for some reason other than my stomach is empty. I mean, it's an emotional thing or it's a social thing or whatever. So when I feel that empty feeling, to me, that's hunger.
That's hunger.
Yeah.
I guess it's hard to recognize. And I think that's the thing I've been working on the most in the last year is with my trying to do intuitive eating is truly listening to my body. Yeah. Do I want to eat because I'm bored? Because my boredom is my biggest problem. Or I want a distraction from what I'm doing, or am I actually really hungry? And what I try and do when I'm really on point is like sit with it for 20 minutes. And I remember this is a while back, I was talking to my best friend and because she's had weight loss surgery too. And she's, struggled with the regain just like everybody else. And when I was really getting into fasting, I'm like, sometimes you just have to sit with the hunger and it's okay to be hungry. You're not going to die.
Right.
because your stomach is empty. And sometimes if you sit with it for 20 or 30 minutes, it just goes away. Or I try and distract myself with doing something else. I'm always a busy person anyway. And I'll realize like, oh, it's been 30 minutes and I'm all right. I'm in the middle of something else. I'll worry about it later. And I can go another couple of hours. So that's why I'm like, well, if I could go another couple of hours, was that really hunger?
I still think that's hunger. I mean, you can, and that's when I played around with the fasting. That was the hardest thing for you. 12 hours is fine, but the 16 hours, it's like I am really, really hungry. And if I have to go somewhere, I need to make sure I have food to eat. But I think that empty feeling is true hunger. And you're going to live. I mean, you can live with hunger and you can distract yourself. But to me, I really think that empty feeling is hunger. It's like when I don't have that empty feeling, I try not to eat.
Right, because it shouldn't be necessary. Right. If you're listening to your body's cues, it's not necessary. Yeah.
Right. And that's why in the beginning, I was like kind of pissed off that nobody else had hunger and I did. Yeah. But as I've sort of gotten further out from this, I appreciate that because I generally, unless something's going on, I won't eat unless I'm actually having that empty feeling.
Well, and too, when I first started doing keto and I realized like I don't know if it was not craving or not hungry, but I didn't have those desires like I had before. I really had to break the routine because I am a very routine kind of person. So at that time before I started keto, I would do like when I got to work, I'd have something to eat at 8. Then I'd have something at 10:30.
Breakfast and you're late. What did you call?
I had first breakfast and second breakfast. Then I had lunch. Then I had afternoon snack. Then I had dinner. And then I had evening snack. And like that was my routine. And so I think more than anything, it was breaking that routine. Like it's okay to not have those snacks.
But when I heard you say this just recently, either in blog or something, I heard you say it. And I was like, that's because she stopped doing her first breakfast. I mean, that she stopped eating on that routine. That's why she's actually feeling hunger now. Right.
I broke the routine. And now this is my new routine. And that's why I don't even worry about counting the hours or anything like that anymore. Because now I feel like we get so, at least for me, I get so hyper-focused on the numbers. Like I'm very regimented and I want to chart things and track things and then I get too focused on it and then I find that's all I'm thinking about. And I would love to get to a point in my life where I'm not thinking about it. That I told John the other day, my dream would be to forget to eat. Like when you hear people say, oh, I got busy and I just forgot to eat. I'm like, that is literally never, ever happened to me. I will never forget to eat. I would like to get to a point where I forgot to eat, but I don't see that ever happening. Even with the way I eat now and being able to fast, it's not that I forget. Oh, I'm thinking about it.
Right.
It's conscious.
Right. So you started intermittent fasting when in the process of keto? Like how far in?
Oh, it was a while in. I was probably, I don't know, probably almost a year in, or maybe even more than a year. I was in a Facebook group. It's a natural evolution. When you do all the research on keto, it kind of evolves into people talking about fasting. But I was in this Facebook group for keto for people who were getting started on keto. And I actually became an admin in the group, probably because I was a know-it-all. And I was like answering people's questions. So they asked if I would admin. And I did for a while. And then when I kind of got to where I wanted to start fasting, and I thought it was a really good evolution into that, this group was not open to like the fasting part of it because it is overwhelming. I would say if you're going to do the whole thing, phase into keto and then phase into fasting. To do it all at one time, it's way too much of a change. And so when I kind of stepped back from that group, I got myself more into the fasting because I felt more comfortable and I wasn't going to try and talk to that group about it. So yeah, it was probably at least a year ago, because in the spring of last year is when I did my 9-week challenge. And that's when I incorporated a lot of fasting into my routine. And I'm telling you, it works. It really works. It's hard to stick with day to day for the rest of your life. That is a real conscious decision that you have to make. But I think it's good for people like when you're coming up on summer and you want to lean down and you want to look good for an event or something. It's extremely effective. But to do it every day, to alternate day fast every day for the rest of your life would be really difficult. So,
So first of all, Amy, my friend Amy wanted me to tell you today because she's preparing for a colonoscopy and she's on all liquids that she has a whole new respect for your fasting and will never do it. So there's that. And also, I'm just curious. So if you're looking at sort of, like you said, getting ready for an event or leading out, what would be a fasting schedule that you would follow?
Well, I think it depends on how much I have to lose, what my goals are. So like when I did it this past time, when I did the 9 months, I had a couple of things.
9 weeks,
One,
not 9 months.
not 9 months, 9 weeks. Yeah, 9 weeks.
Yeah.
I had a Mexico trip that was coming up. So one of my goals was to, look good for the Mexico trip. But the other thing was I went and got a DEXA scan. And so I knew what my starting point was and I took pictures and I really wanted to see a body change because a lot of people say with keto that it's, that you can't build muscle, that you can either lose fat or you can build muscle, but you can't do both. And it's a huge argument in the fitness community. And so my goal was to prove that wrong because they think if you do hardcore keto and hardcore fasting that you will lose muscle. So I love that challenge. Like that is super motivating to me. And so I was determined I was not going to cheat.
Numbers. You like the numbers. So
love the numbers. And when I got to the end of the 9 weeks and I did that DEXA scan, it proved me right. I maintained my muscle.
So
and I lost a lot of fat.
And remind me, I watched all that, and you know what?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to do that at the first year. I'm going to get a DEXA scan, and I'm going to do the 9 weeks.
It's so motivating.
But what were your results, and what did you do during those 9 weeks?
Oh, if I can remember. I wish I could remember. Okay, so
videos on our channel about it, but
yeah. Well, okay, so I got my count. First of all, just to lay it all out there, I got a calendar. I wrote out every day what I was going to do, food wise and exercise wise. My rules there, I did alternate day fasting, and once a month, so twice in the process, I did 3 all liquid days. One, I think,
so alternate day 24-hour fasting.
Basically 36, because I would have lunch and dinner and then nothing for the rest of that evening, nothing for the whole next day, and nothing until lunch the next. So Monday I would eat, Sunday night I would go to bed, with a full stomach. Monday I'd have absolutely nothing. Tuesday I'd eat lunch and dinner. Wednesday, absolutely nothing. Thursday, lunch and dinner. Friday, absolutely nothing. And then Saturday, I might even push it to 3 or 4 o'clock, because if I work out in the morning, I can usually go a long time without eating. It kills my appetite. But yeah, so I did that on 3 of the weeks. And then on some of the weeks, I did nothing on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So 3-day either water fast or fat fast. And so and the alternate day fasting, some of it I did water fast, where just water or black coffee and unsweetened tea. But also a lot of the days I did fat fasting, which I found to be a lot easier. And fat fasting is just, you only have water or something with fat. So 100% fat, no protein, no carbs, only fat. So mine comes in the form of heavy cream in my coffee. I'm a big coffee drinker. Easy for me to drink lots of heavy cream. I find it's easier mentally because I kind of feel satisfied from the creamy coffee. And it's actually water fasting mimicking, because the fat doesn't spike your insulin. So your body still thinks for the most part that you're water fasting, because it doesn't get that blood sugar change and the insulin change and that kind of thing. So yeah, I did that for 9 weeks, and I lost, I think it was about 12 or 13 pounds. Almost all of that was fat. And the body fat percentage was what changed the most. And I wish I could remember off the top of my head. I had a goal and I way surpassed it. I think I'm not even going to venture.
You can tell us later, and we can.
Yeah, I'll have to I'll put the link to the video, the final video out there. But that's where the numbers aren't even that important to me anymore. Right. To the point where I don't even remember. I just remember I was way more successful than what I even hoped for. So,
did you gain that weight back?
Not well. Right now I'm up from the holidays and stuff, but up until the mid-fall, no, I was, maintaining just fine. But since I've been off track a little bit since the last, I don't know, month or so, a little bit more than a month. And so I am up from that, because I have not been fasting like I normally did. And I've had some non-keto things here and there with the holidays, but I'd say 90% of the time I'm eating keto foods. That's really not, probably even more than 90% actually. But I think the fasting is what has allowed some of the weight to come back on, but not fasting. Not fasting. Yeah. So that's one of the things after the first of the year, I'm going to be probably starting a whole new program, maybe another 9-week challenge, just to start fresh, get back into that, because I can tell you, I felt so much better at that time, mentally and physically, that I missed that feeling. So I want to get back to that.
So Liz wants to know if you think keto helps with your arthritis.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. And I'll tell you why. Like, sometimes you kind of forget, like, we get used to how we feel, and like, you feel bad, you feel bad, you feel bad, and it just feels like normal. Well, and the opposite has kind of happened with me. So keto felt better. Fasting felt way better. I started a couple of years ago, I started doing injections once a week of Enbrel for my arthritis. And as time has gone by, I've gotten down to doing it every 3 weeks, once every 3 weeks. So that's fantastic. And my doctor kind of wants me to hang here for a while. Eventually the end goal would be to be off completely, but I'm really nervous about that because the pain's really bad if I'm not doing injections. So in the last few weeks, I've gone off plan. I've eaten vegetables that I don't normally eat. I've eaten bites of bread and things like that I don't normally eat, and some sugar, like with a couple of desserts that I don't normally eat. And going to bed at night, when I was eating those things at that time, I wouldn't feel good. I wouldn't feel good mentally. I wouldn't feel good. Like, my hands felt swollen. My arthritis was achy. I just generally felt inflamed, like inflamed. And then as soon as I, got back on track that next week, back at work, doing my coffee and water and keto foods and getting all that flushed out, I feel better again. So I know for a fact that keto makes me feel better. It's very anti-inflammatory. And right now, that's another thing I'll be testing in the new year is if I feel like I might be sensitive to tomatoes and peppers, because one day that's all I had that was off plan was like a pizza type dish. And that night I felt miserable going to sleep, and I felt miserable waking up the next morning. So as much as I hate that, because I mean, the Italian girl in me does not want to have a tomato sensitivity, but I think it might be. If it's not that, it could be dairy. I've been eating a lot of dairy lately, like a lot of cheese. So I'm probably going to have to back off of that. That's some of the things I did with the 9-week challenge. I really limited things. I did not have pork rinds the whole time. I wanted to get off of that. I had no nuts, no peanut butter, which that whole 9-week challenge was really good for that, because it broke my peanut butter habit, because I was eating peanut butter like every night, like 1 spoon, but that has a lot of calories. It's really calorie dense, and you really aren't supposed to have peanuts on keto anyway, because that's a bean. It's not a nut. So, but that helped me break that. So even now, I don't really have nuts that often, but I had nothing during that 9-week challenge. And I think eating whole foods during that time really cleaned my system out. And that's why I felt so good. That's why my arthritis felt better, all of it. So that's why I really need to get back to that again.
So one of the things that we all want to know, and I'll tie this back into keto, but how in the world can you go on so many vacations?
Because we love to travel. Well, it's so funny. One of Victoria's friends was like, your parents must be rich because y'all travel all the time. And we're like, well, we hardly ever eat out. Like, we have things that we prioritize, and going on vacations is one of them. And we have other things that we don't prioritize. So like, probably our house isn't the most fixed up as, other people's, and we don't eat out a lot, but we sock away that money for travel. And then of course we were always looking at travel deals, like points off the credit card, free flights. Like, if we fly somewhere with the kids, we never pay for them. We always use points for them to fly. And so we just try and find the best deals.
And I think those experiences, it's so worth it. And I've sort of gotten off that myself this last year. And so I'm going to be doing a lot of traveling this year. And New Orleans is definitely one of the places I'm going this year. So just FYI.
Yay.
So I'm
definitely, I look forward to that.
Because I have never been there before. And
well, most you either love it or you hate it, but I think every person has to come and experience New Orleans once. And you'll either fall in love or you'll be like, I'm glad I did it. Don't need to go back and do that ever again. And I have friends that have told me both things. So, you know, like, I'll never come back. I'm like, that's cool. I'm like, I'm not offended. It's not for everybody. I get it. But, you know, I love it.
So the, you know, keto weight loss related question to that is, when you're on vacation, do you go off track? Do you try to stay on track? How do you get back on track?
For the most part, I don't. So during that 9-week challenge is when we did a whole week-long trip driving all around. Like, we did Wyoming and Colorado and stuff. And I was seriously on point. And at that time, during that 9-week challenge, I recorded every single thing I ate and I posted it on my Insta stories, which really helps you stay focused when you know you are committed to doing. I mean, and I didn't have to. I could have stopped at any time. It's not like the Instagram police were going to come, you know, find me, but I wanted to. But I don't find it difficult at all because I have core foods that I like. So, you know, every restaurant you go to is going to have a burger. Every restaurant you go to is going to have a salad that you can get ranch dressing and chicken. I mean, it's really not that difficult to stay, for me, to stay keto. Yeah. You can get steak and broccoli with butter. I mean, I think it's so much easier to eat keto out than to eat low fat out or anything else. I mean, keto, you can find something that you can eat. Right. My biggest thing is trying to remember to tell people no croutons on the salad, because I love croutons. So if they come on the salad, I have to really force myself to take them off and not eat them. But I mean, other than that, it's really easy. And then I'll bring snacks with me. I'll bring like jerky or whatever with me. The hardest thing is finding heavy cream when I'm traveling. So if we stay in somewhere that has a refrigerator, I'll go to the store and I'll get heavy cream and keep it in the refrigerator, or I'll have half and half, which it's not like I'm breaking a major rule, you know, but it's not something that I would have normally if I was home. But other than that, I stay away from sugar because I don't feel good eating it. And it's kind of like, I kind of see it like an allergy. You know, if I was allergic to peanuts, I just wouldn't eat peanuts. So I feel like I'm allergic to sugar. I just really shouldn't eat sugar. And it doesn't bother me. The kids have it. John has stuff. And I think I've just changed my mindset about it, that it's like I'm the kind of, like, I remember a while back, it's like, I'm the kind of person who doesn't eat that. And I just am. That's one of the best. I mean, I do that in other areas of my life, but Tanya has said this a bunch of times around food, is saying, I'm not the kind of person who eats this, or I'm not the kind of person who does that. For me, one of the things is I'm not the kind of person who breaks my promises to myself around what I'm eating or going to do. And that's why often when I'm getting back on track, it has to be like one little tiny step, because I don't want to break the promises that I make to myself. Right. So when I got like big on the keto bandwagon was back in August, after I sort of just trashed it. I mean, trashed all the things I knew for a year. And so we had a little Marco Polo group with Sarah and Amy was reading, and I had a long time ago when you sent me the research, I had watched it, but she said something that just stuck in my mind so much. That was, you know, if you get out of being fat adapted, it can take up to 6 weeks to get back to that. Yeah. That's scary. Yeah, because it could be quite miserable. Yeah. So if I eat something and I know it kicks me out of ketosis, it could be so easy to backslide and just say, you know, F it, I'm just going to do whatever. But I don't want to go through all that. And I'd like to be back into ketosis within 48 hours if possible. I've been pretty out of ketosis for a month. And so I think, and I just got the little blood testing thing. So yeah. And I've been testing for a week, so I can really see how different things affect my body. So I'm going to say it here. I think I'm not going to do your 9 weeks with fasting, but I'm going to do 8 solid weeks of keto. And I'm going to get a DEXA scan next week if I can get in to get one. And then maybe after that, I'll do 8 weeks with intermittent fasting and see. That would be cool, because we have another beach vacation that's going to be in June. So, I mean, that's a long ways away. So I have like at least 5 months to prepare for that. But, you know, they say summer bodies are built in the winter. And I try and tell myself that, remember, summer bodies are built in the winter. You can't just lose it in the last month. And it's true. You can't. You really need a good 3 or 4 months to really tighten up and firm up and lean down and all that stuff. So that's what I plan on. As soon as we get back, we're driving back from Florida on the 1st. And that's the easiest day, because you're just stuck in the car. And as long as I don't have any crap snacks in the car, It's not a big deal. I'll drink my coffee and we'll be fine. So and I don't want it to be like, oh, New Year's resolution. I don't do any of that stuff anyway. It just so happens that it aligns up with when we're finishing a vacation. I have no other obligations after that for a long time. And so I have plans to be hyper-focused with it again. In fact, I had somebody ask me today if I would do the Insta stories again, just showing, what I'm eating each day, really just to give food ideas, which at lunchtime it's boring because I eat the same things over and over again at lunch, but I will do like cooking things too in the evening.
Okay. And we did have a question about that. So of what you eat in a day. So I'll put Tanya's Instagram below because you do that, or you were doing it.
I was doing it pretty consistently, and in the last couple of months, I've gotten away from it. I've been really busy, and I hadn't been focused on it. But I plan on focusing on it a lot, especially starting in January. Yeah, because like I said, it helps me too.
Right? Yeah, accountability always does. So let's back off keto and talk about just some general weight loss surgery stuff. So one of the that I'm asking people on this Vlogmas reboot of The Naked Truth is your best advice starting out and your best advice now for weight patients.
Starting out, don't test the waters. Don't test the waters. Don't try and see how your body is going to react to something, because what good is going to come from that? Really, there's nothing good that's going to come from finding out that you can eat ice cream and you won't vomit. Like that's not a good thing to know. Like, and the bad thing is that you vomit if you eat ice cream. like there's no good that can come from this. So don't test the waters.
I only ever found that I could eat things that I was afraid to eat before. I mean, my first, and I got to tell you, I went to, when I met you the first time at a conference, like 4 months post-op, and I saw everybody, who was much further along than me doing things that I thought would kill me.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, maybe I can do that. And that was it was a very slippery slope.
Right. Now I'll say there were some rules that I still think are goofy. Like, yeah, like don't drink through a straw and don't chew gum. I mean, I have a friend who was like more than 2 years post-op and she still wouldn't chew gum. And I was like, why? And she's like, my surgeon said I can't chew gum. I said that they don't want you to chew gum because they're afraid you're going to swallow gum and it's going to clog up your sleep. I said, as an adult, when's the last time you swallowed a piece of gum? And she's like, oh, you're right. I'm like, yeah, that's really not a thing. I mean, really. Now, I wouldn't do it like in the first 6 weeks after because you are swollen. And if some crazy thing happened and you wouldn't want that to happen. But I mean, 2 years out, you can have a piece of gum. It's really okay.
And I think carbonation, I mean, I understand carbonation. I think carbonation's and carbonation freaked me out going into it. Not even soda, but club soda. I like club soda much more than I like water. So all the stuff about no carbonation freaked me out. Right.
It's not going to stretch your sleep. It really isn't. Well, I had a rule that I would only drink Diet Coke if it had whiskey in it for a while. That's how my Diet Coke
was the only time I ever drank Diet Coke too. Okay, so what about now? 7 years. What do you say?
I guess stay consistent with yourself. Try and remember your why. Why am I doing this? Am I doing this for beauty? Am I doing it for health? Like when I had my surgery, I was on 2 high blood pressure medicines. I was very uncomfortable. My arthritis was out of control. And that's my why. Now, I like feeling like I look good too now, but that's really not my why. I don't ever want to feel bad, and I don't want to have an early heart attack and die, and I didn't want to have diabetes or anything. And so I think sometimes people get distracted by the tracking and the rules and and they forget why they're doing those things. And I think if you remember your why and you have a good why, it helps you stay focused. So I think my best advice is if you don't know what your why is, find your why. Because if you don't know why you're doing it, you're not going to stay consistent and you will not maintain, because it's so easy to lose focus. It's so easy. But if you know what your why is, you'll stick. And like one part of my why is traveling. Like I love to travel and I don't want to not be able to do things that are available when we travel because I'm too heavy or I'm too uncomfortable or I'm not capable. I already have issues with my arthritis that hold me back from doing certain things. That's out of my control. My joints are out of my control. My weight is in my control and I don't want to miss out on any experiences. And so that's a big part of my why.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to do one question from here. So wants to know, when first starting keto, how do you address friends and family about all the doubts and how unhealthy eating high fat is?
Well, what I, yeah, I mean, and I
talk about how it's not.
I still get that. Well, what's funny, so, okay, so I've always gone and had my blood work done every year after surgery, even before doing keto. It's something I thought was important. And I think it's important for anybody, whether you had surgery, whatever, to get your blood tested every year. And so what I say is have your blood work done and say, look, I'm going to do this for X amount of time. You know, I say at least 3 months. You have to do it to really get fat adapted, get comfortable with it, have your blood kind of like level out, because your cholesterol will spike initially and then it's going to come back down to a more level place, and say, let's just check the blood work and we'll see what I'm looking like, and then show them the blood results. That's why I just recently put out my 2-year blood results, because I want people to see there's nothing to be afraid of. I'm hardcore keto. I've been hardcore keto for 2 years and my blood work is only improving. So
you have a little fluctuation, I think, in the beginning. I had a little fluctuation, but it came right down next time to the best it's been since I had weight loss surgery.
Yeah, I think your liver kind of flushes out for the first couple months and your levels get a little wacky. So if you go have your blood work done in 6 weeks, okay, prepare yourself. You're going to think you're dying. You're not. Wait till 3 months, wait till 6 months, and then do it again. And because I started in August and I had that first round of blood work done in October. So it was a little bit too soon, but then the next October, it was great. My triglycerides are fantastic. My blood glucose has only gotten better because it's just going down, down, down. My good cholesterol keeps going up, up, up. You know, so I think I'm a numbers person. Let the numbers speak for themselves, you know. And my family they weren't on board with it at first. And then when they saw how good I felt and the weight come off, next thing you know, everybody's trying keto. So, and do they stick to it 100%? No, but they know it works and they're not afraid of it anymore. So.
Yeah. And it's amazing how, I had an issue with low potassium a couple months ago where I ended up having to go into the ER and every single person was, you can't do this. You can't. And it's like, no, I can do this. I had low potassium before and I got off track with what I was doing. And it was totally my fault because I wasn't taking the prescription potassium supplements, and it has nothing to do with this.
But, and you know what, that is a good teaching moment too, because it would have been so easy for you to say, oh, they're right. This is way too hard for me. It's really not appropriate. And it would be a perfect excuse to not do it anymore. And you didn't let that happen. So kudos, because that would have been an easy way to be out of it, you know?
Well, for me, I still haven't gotten all my regain off, and I have to get a little bit less than where I was to get a consult on plastics.
Right.
And, this is what I know. I either do keto or I'm gaining my weight back. Even if I'm eating fewer calories, that's just all there is to it for my body. That's just what it is.
My body does not like carbs. It just doesn't. And it's like I say, it's like an allergy. Like I have an allergy to it and I have a reaction when I eat it. It's a puffing reaction. Yes. The fat cells swell.
Have you found, because we both tend to retain water, have you found that that's less since you've been on keto?
Maybe a little. If I'm off keto, well, I guess so, because if I eat things that are off plan, I definitely puff up a lot more. But I really think I have some kind of vascular issue, because it's as I sit at my desk all week long, it just gets worse and worse and worse. If I'm not wearing compression socks, and even if I take fluid pills, because I take like my prescription maybe once or twice a week, as it gets worse. But keto definitely has not fixed that. I wish.
So if lucky I work from home, and a lot of times I'll be sitting on this couch with my feet up on the thing, so I don't have to sit at a desk. But if there's a time when I'm doing that, or I'm at a conference where I'm sitting like that, it will be really bad by the time that night. So let's talk a little bit about why you decided to go on YouTube and kind of how being part of this community, what that's meant to you and how that's been in your life.
Okay. Well, I decided to go on YouTube because when I first heard about VSG, that's the first thing I did was I went and Googled it. And the first thing that came up in Google were a couple of YouTube videos, which there weren't many people back then who made YouTube videos, but there was one girl who did the week by week by week by week for VSG. And And I watched all of her videos. And then I found somebody else who did the same thing. And I was like, this is really interesting. And they talked about the foods that they ate, and it was very informative. Back then, people didn't talk so much about the emotional side of it. It was very just the facts, ma'am, kind of thing. But I thought, well, you know what? People need more of this, because this is so interesting. And this is not anything that anybody's getting from a surgeon's office. And so I thought, well, I think I might want to do this. And I just decided to make a video. And then I'm like, I'm going to track it every week. And it just kind of exploded from there. But it has mean the world. I really don't think I would have maintained my weight loss if it wasn't for staying connected through YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, because I think I was the only heavy person in my family. There's nobody who's ever even been heavy enough to qualify for surgery. And so all my family is very thin, and I was always kind of the oddball, having the way I had to fight my weight. And I feel like I found my people when I got on YouTube, and like people could relate, and I could relate to them. And I'm like, oh my God, that's how I feel too. And especially when people started talking about the mental part of it, I'm like, it's not just me. It's not just me that's hyper-focused on food all the time. And I think about it all the time, and it feels unnatural, because it kind of is unnatural. And I really felt like it was totally unnatural, because nobody else in my life felt the same way. And when I found this community, I found out that it wasn't just me. And most of my closest friends are people that I've met through YouTube and stuff. So I cannot imagine where my life would be right now if I hadn't made those first few videos and made the connections that I've made and the friendships. I definitely don't think I would have maintained my weight loss the way I have. I may not have even been brave enough to have plastic surgery, because, we kind of become a little bit desensitized to it, because we see so many people going through it. We're like, no, this is totally normal. I can totally do this. But if you didn't know all these people who had plastic surgery, it's very frightening. It's huge incisions, and it's a lot of,
Yeah, I would have never considered it without seeing everybody, every one of my friends go through it. And
right.
It's like, to me, I was scared to have VSG, and plastic surgery is so much more intense.
Yes.
Than VSG. I mean,
yes.
For sure. And I think there's something to be said of that. I think a lot of times as overweight people, we have all these thoughts in our head that we don't know that anybody else has, because even if you do have overweight friends, you don't really talk
about it. Right.
Yeah, you can talk about this. So, yeah.
You feel weak, like we're strong women, and I always tried to feel like I had to feel like I had my shit together. And especially with being heavy, it was like, if I'm screwing up in this part of my life, everything else is going to be fantastic, because nobody's going to say that I'm a total F up, So then you couldn't let people know that you had this weakness. And I'm sure people wondered how I was so big, because of course I wasn't going to eat in front of people, because I did not ever want people to say, oh, that's why she's fat. Look at what she's having, So everything was hidden. But then when I got on YouTube, and I felt like, even though it was out there for the whole world to see, it was okay to talk about it. So.
Right. Yeah. So if we go, are you okay if we go a little long? Because there's a couple.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you, I knew that I had changed. I mean, that I've changed in a lot of areas of my life other than just how I look. And it was so funny. I just last week watched my second week video. So it's like how I show up is so totally, completely different. And I realized that even though I sort of have the same, I have the same job, I've always, been strong in my career, I sort of see all these ways, and it just sort of hit me. Do you feel like you've changed in how you show up in your job?
I don't know. I was always very confident in my job, and not afraid to speak up and that kind of thing. So I think it's easier for me to say no, that I'm not going to do a project, or I'll only do something if I really want to, or it's more okay for me to say no, like, we are super busy, I can't work on this right now, or it's going to have to wait. Where before I was probably a little bit more people pleasing, but sometimes I wonder if it's like an age thing too, because I've been in the same career for a long time. And so, and I got the job that I had at a much younger age. I was kind of young for the position that I got. So I felt like I had something to prove. Now I feel like I've proved myself. And so I think it's an age thing, and it's a confidence thing, but maybe the confidence thing.
I would say the exact same thing. I'm much less people pleasing. And so I think something, different than what everybody else says. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not afraid to say no. But that could be an age thing. But I was old when I did this. So
well, you know, too, I've found out that a lot of times if I don't agree with something and I say something, then they'll have somebody else be like, I was thinking the same thing, but I didn't want to say anything. And now I'm not so afraid to be the person who says something, and because I realize it's probably other people thinking the same thing. They just don't want to say it. And if you say it, they'll probably back you up, you know?
Right. So what about your marriage? How has that transitioned or changed at all during this time? You have such a lovely husband.
Yeah, I do. He's a doll. And let me tell you, I put him through the ringer because before I had VSG, I had said, oh, I'd never have weight loss surgery. It's too dangerous. Da, 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 da. And then when I decided to, he was like, I thought you said you'd never do that. And I'm like, well, I've changed my mind. I think it's safe now. Da, da, da. So he went through that whole thing with me, and he went through the weight loss and the plastic surgery, which he does not like me having surgery. It's scary. And where I'm gung ho on something, he does not like that at all. And so, and then when I went through the whole teenage phase, I was a disaster. I was like a disrespectful teenager. And he was really
helpful for people to hear that, because you always come across so composed. And even when you were doing that, whatever was happening, it wasn't evident. I mean, it wasn't evident to other people. And I think it's really helpful for people to hear that even you had a period of time. And it is an adolescent. I mean, I really think
it's total adolescent. It was like, I'm going to do, well, I feel like I was heavy my whole life. And so I had hit this spot where I felt really good about myself. And it was like, I'm going to go out and do things that I didn't get to really enjoy when I was, in my early 20s and stuff. I wanted to go out all the time. I wanted to go dancing and drinking. And that's okay to do some of that sometimes, but I wanted to do it every week. And I got this belligerent attitude that I'm going to do it and you're not going to stop me. Definite teenage attitude, and nobody's going to tell me what I can do and what I can't do. And I was just an asshole. Like, I was a total asshole. And he could have easily said, you know what? I'm done. You're being an idiot and I'm over it. But he didn't. And if he would have, I would probably have been like, fine, hit the bricks, dude. I was like in a really strange headspace. And I'm really glad that he didn't give up on me. And I respect that a lot. And it took a lot to get past that, because I hurt his feelings a lot. I hurt him a lot during that time. And not just him, my parents too. My mom talked to me about things, because she's like, you need to get your shit together. You got a good guy there and nobody's going to treat you the way he treats you. He worships you, and he does. And I lost appreciation for that for a good while. And now, having gone through that and see that he stuck with me like that, we're way closer now. But it helped us work out a lot of things too, because I think before I had surgery, if things bothered me, I held it in, because I was like, oh, what if he leaves me? What if he leaves me? No, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. And I think he was kind of thinking the same thing on his side of it. And having all those problems forced us to talk about things. And we went through a whole thing where we're like, okay, every week we're going to check in and we're going to tell each other, if I said something or did something this week that pissed you off, we need to talk about it. We need to get it out there every week. But it was only going to be once a week, because we talked about things so much. I was like, I don't want to talk about it anymore. I don't want to talk about problems every single day. And that really helped us a lot. And we don't really do that anymore, because we kind of got into the routine that if something bothers me, I'm going to say it right now. But this whole thing has changed us so much that we really don't have those kind of problems. We're not fighters. We rarely disagree on things. We might get irritated with like habits, like living with somebody. But it helped us get through all that stuff. And I think it's made it so much stronger, because we appreciate each other so much more now.
So give us single girls some advice on how to pick a good one.
What I was, and I'll say this, this is how I knew John was the one. If he kept his word, if he said he was going to call me at a certain time, if he said he was going to, like we met online. So if he said he was going to be online at a certain time, we were going to talk, he was there. If he couldn't be there, he would send me a message saying, I can't be there because of X, Y, and Z, but I will be there at this time. And he kept his word. He never broke a promise. And that was really, really, really important to me. And I think that's important. If the other person respects you, they will be there when they say they're going to be there. And if they don't respect you, they won't. And I think that's a telltale sign of a good guy, if they keep their word. But I also haven't dated in like almost 20 years. So what the hell do I know?
I think that's definitely a big thing. Okay. So how about your kids? How has all this changed the way you're raising your kids as it relates to food?
Well, they definitely are aware of how I eat and why I eat the way I eat. They know that I don't like sugar at all. I'm sure I'm screwing them up in my own special way with nutrition, but I feel like even if they may not make the choices that I make, they're going to know what those choices could be. And eventually, if they feel like that's the right choice for them, that they'll make it. But I don't keep a lot of junk in the house. I just don't. They have some things that are just for them, and I wouldn't eat it. But it's funny, one time when Kirk was over spending the weekend with us, he got up in the middle of the night and he was like, I think it was when I was still recovering from my arm surgery. So I was in the recline asleep, and he's like, you have no junk food in this house. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And he's like, how do you live like this? So, I think it's probably affected them that they know that's our norm. So when they go to other people's houses, they'll come home and be like, oh my God, they have chips and candy and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Mom, oh my God. And they're not the skinniest kids out there. They're not the healthiest kids out there, but they know they'll never be the kind of adults that say, I grew up and my mom never told us anything about the right way to eat and, nutritious foods. They know. They may not make the right choice, but they know. So I don't know. A lot of times I wish that they ate healthier, but I think all parents probably wish that for their kids. So I think eventually when they get to be young adults, they will, the switch will flip for them, and, they'll make good choices.
I totally lost my train of thought of what I was going to ask you about
with the kids.
I lost that train of thought. Liz says that to have a good guy, you need to find an Australian.
Well, I don't disagree with that. The Aussies are a good bunch of men.
So I'm just looking back through the questions. Clifton had asked about your eating, so she can follow you on Instagram.
Yep.
She says you are the model for perseverance.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I absolutely agree. And just for grace. I mean, Tanya, of anybody, you are the most gracious, kind, smart person in this community. So
thank you. Thank you. Wow, that's really powerful. Thank you.
Kathleen Dove wanted to know, I think you talked about this. Well, she wanted to know, have you modified your meal plan, vitamins or supplements for arthritis?
Well, for supplements, yes. I mean, I've always taken my multivitamin. I've always taken my B complex. That's always been constant. Now I take magnesium more because with keto, you need the electrolytes that are a little bit different. So I'll take magnesium. With my arthritis, I take turmeric. Is it turmeric? Yeah. I take that a couple of times a day. And then my iron's always kind of like borderline low. Ever since VSG, I've never had low iron, but it's been borderline low. So I'll take iron like maybe 3 or 4 times a week. What else? So I take vitamin C. But I'm a good vitamin taker. I've always been a good vitamin taker because I'm a habitual, whatever. Like I get up every morning, I drink 16 ounces of water, I take my vitamins. It's just what I do. It's my routine. I feel weird if I don't do it. So, but yeah, I think with VSG, well, I always took a multivitamin before that, but that I expanded everything after VSG. And then with keto, I upped like my potassium and magnesium, and I I definitely eat more sodium than I used to, because I used to really hate salt, and now I've acquired a taste for it. So,
and I think Sarah I can't find her question. Sarah had asked about how you got back on track, but she also wanted to know what your favorite keto thing to make is.
Bacon.
Well, obviously, from a recipe.
My favorite keto foods are like bacon, deviled eggs for sure. My keto fried chicken, that's
So I need you to, is that somewhere online? Because I was asking them today. I got a bunch of chicken today and I wanted to make some kind of keto fried chicken.
I have a video out there. I'll share it. It's
Right.
and it actually has a lot of hits on that video because I like a lot of like keto people will watch it, and I get usually on like big videos they get a lot of views. You get a lot of ugly comments on like lots of views come with lots of ugly comments. Not on that recipe video.
Well,
Everybody's like, I can't wait to try this. That was delicious. So, yeah,
I'm gonna make it tomorrow. So I'm gonna make it tomorrow. Is there anything before I get into our questions, which you've answered 3 times already, and I need to go back and look and see what your old answers are? But is there anything you want to talk about that I haven't touched on?
Oh my goodness. No, I would like to encourage everybody to find something fitness related that you like, because I find that when I'm really on my fitness game, I make better food choices because I don't want to screw up what I'm doing in the gym. So, and when I'm not working out for some reason, like maybe I'm recovering for surgery, to me, it's easier to not make the right food choices. I don't know what it is. Well, I'll tell you, part of what it is working out takes time. It takes time to get dressed. It takes time to get there. It takes time to do it. It takes time to come home and have a shower. And in all of that time, you're not eating. And I'm not thinking about food. So that's like a good 2 or 3 hour distraction that helps take your mind off of food. And then for me, it's an appetite killer. Some people, it stimulates the appetite. But for me, it's an appetite killer. So, but I feel like fitness is really important. And even if you're at a healthy weight, you may not be healthy because you need to do something. And you can walk for 30 minutes a day or an hour every other day. And it doesn't have to be, that's another thing. You don't have to go to the gym and like kill yourself to where you can't move 2 days later. Just walk. When I started out with VSG, I just walked. That's it. And it's so good for you. And you feel good. I feel, sometimes I forget when I don't go consistently. And then when I go, I'm like, I told John I'm like, you never leave a workout and say, ugh, wish I wouldn't have done that. Like you never leave a work, even if it's not the best workout you ever had, you're still like, well, at least I win. At least I burned some calories for that hour. It's never, a bad workout is still better than no workout. So
it's such a natural antidepressant. And I will say that I am maybe more proud of my fitness and how I've kept consistent with that and what than I am of losing the weight, because losing the weight, I had weight loss surgery. I was going to, this fitness was a choice.
Right.
And I was the kid who never did PE, never did anything. And now I am so competitive physically. And I love that. And I love that I do all these things. It makes me so happy and proud. And that's one of the things, I think a lot of us are real perfectionists and we think we have to do everything. And if we can't do everything, then we might as well not do anything.
Absolutely.
Seriously, walk 100 steps from your door.
Right.
I mean, if you're watching this and you haven't had surgery and, mobility is an issue, walk 100 steps from your door and tomorrow walk 101 and come back. And that's something. And you're keeping your promise to yourself about just doing something small.
Right.
We're not perfect. We're not ever going to be perfect, but those little things add up.
It becomes a lifestyle. Like if you can't do 30 minutes at one time to walk 30 minutes a day, walk for 5 minutes. And then 2 hours later, walk for 5 minutes again. 2 hours later, walk for 5 minutes. And if you're going to the bathroom, do an extra 100 steps. If you're whatever, every little bit helps. And it becomes a mindset that you don't want to give that up. And it just becomes part of your routine and you just do it. So yeah, and like I said, it's an excellent antidepressant. I always feel better mentally when I've worked out. You feel proud. You feel the exhaustion takes away a lot of the chatter in your head, because you're just too tired to overthink things. And yeah.
Yeah, and I work out. I mean, I work out really early in the morning, like 5 or 6 o'clock, because otherwise I wouldn't do it because I'm not. I'll come up with excuses if I wait till the end of the day. But I have headphones on, listening to like kind of motivational stuff, and it's the only time my mind stops.
Right.
I'm moving my body at the same time. It's the only time that all that chatter
goes away. Yeah. I think that's why I like step aerobics, because I have to really concentrate to not fall off the step and kill myself. So I have to let all of that stuff in my head go for that hour. And all I hear is the music and think about the steps. That's the only thing in my head. And I think I can't meditate. I probably need to try more, but it's hard for me to turn off the chatter to meditate.
Yeah.
So that's probably the closest that I come to meditating.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's what I've realized. I mean, and I do meditate, but it's a different kind of meditation. It's like, that's the time ideas will pop into my head that are from that, or, you know, I wouldn't have thought of, because my mind is totally, I'm focused on what I'm doing, and I have to pay attention, and my body is, you know, moving. And yeah. Okay. All right. It's so good to catch up. I don't want to wait 2 years to do this again. I'm going to start texting you my food every day again.
You know, I'll respond.
I know, right? No, it's literally cracked me up. We did this Marco Polo group, and I can't remember who it was, but it was somebody who I didn't even know of, who was fairly new. And they're like, oh yeah, I text on you my food. She's like that. And I'm like, what? Wait a minute.
No, she only does that with me.
Everybody's time is BFF. I have a problem with that in general in the weight loss surgery community. You're my BFF. Okay, what's your favorite word?
Probably fantastic.
What's your least favorite word? You can't say moist.
Oh no, moist does not bother me at all. Not at all. My least favorite word. Oh geez, I should have thought of these before. I should have been expecting this. My least favorite word. I don't know. I like so many words. My mom used to say we weren't allowed to say stupid. And it still bothers me when somebody says stupid. I say it sometimes, but it's kind of like saying fuck. Like, I'm going to say it when I really mean it. So probably I'll have to go with my mom's choice of stupid.
What turns you on creatively? Oh, we forgot to talk about your cups.
No. My cups. Like, I'm not even using my own cup.
Well, I got one from Jennifer Mahoney because apparently you didn't have time to make one for me. But Jennifer Mahoney cups are amazing. Those cups are amazing. Well, that's why we started making them, because they're so cool. And Jennifer and I, and they can be really expensive. And Jennifer was like, you know, Tanya, we're pretty crafty. We could probably make these. And we started looking at YouTube videos, and I'm like, you know what? I think we totally could. And next thing you know, it just exploded. And we had the men building turners for us, and we have I cleared out the garage, you know. Well, I have to say, I was like, because Jennifer posted one, I was like, oh, that's so cool, I have to have it. And she told me how much it was, and I was like, I'm not gonna pay that much for a cup. But then Amy got me one for Christmas. Yeah. And it's like, okay, these cups are totally
worth it.
Totally worth it. I have never had a cup like that. But anyway, that may not be what turns you on creatively, but what turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Oh yeah, being able to create stuff, being able to do things. I think because I'm an accountant and I kind of just crunch numbers all day, and I need things that are like sparkly and creative and paint and like those. Music. Oh God, music definitely. I mean, look, John, he's got the guitar. I don't even know. I'm in the music room right now, so that's one of the things that like attracted me to John, is that he could play guitar, and like music definitely. No matter what I'm doing, music always makes it better. So that's my number one. Music turns me on.
What turns you off?
Negativity. Negative people who only have things to complain about.
This is for why everything isn't going to work. I hate that.
Oh, it grates on my nerves. I cannot stand it. Yeah.
What's your favorite curse word?
Shit.
Okay. What sound or noise do you love?
Sound or noise. If it's not music would be my first thing, but that's not really a sound or a noise. No, I'm just gonna go with music, because there's nothing I love more. Like there's no like one sound. Yeah.
What sound or noise do you hate?
A kid crying, or anywhere from like birth to like 4. If I hear a kid screaming and crying, my blood wants to curdle. Yeah.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Well, I would have, had I been thin, I would have loved to have been a Broadway dancer, or some kind of like chorus line, something on Broadway. I would have loved to have done that. If I had a voice, I would love to be a singer. I would love to be a performer. But that just wasn't in the cards for me. But that appeals to me so much.
Me too. I would love to be able to sing and be a singer.
Oh, love that.
What profession would you not like to do?
I would not like to do anything where I have to read a lot. I do not like to read. I wish I did, but I don't. I even just, if I'm going to read a book, I'll probably just get it on audio so I can listen to it. I am not a great reader. So like book editor, yeah, no.
If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
You were a good person. You lived a good life. Yeah.
So you guys, I will try to put up Watch Kitty Shrink's video from Instagram Live. We're going to have less of Sarah on Thursday night. We'll be here. And Fly Girl Fitness, Lindsay will be here next Sunday. And then Grace gets gastric the Sunday after that. And then I'm going to try to fit in the other Gracie, my Gracie, or our Gracie. Obviously, my Gracie. Obviously, she's everybody's Gracie. I'm going to try to fit her in sometime too, but she has a very busy schedule. And we also I haven't reached out to people yet other than Sarah, but we may try to, I've gotten a request to do a show on people who had weight loss surgery, then had a baby and are dealing with a regain. So we're going to try to get that done. And then I had a couple other requests. I'm going to try to get it in, and then I'm not doing this again for another year.
It's demanding, I know.
Although I love catching back up with everybody. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and we will see you on Thursday.
Thank you.